Wow, everyone's coming in from all over. We have Ohio represented, some from Florida and California. So welcome everybody. Now, whether you're a bride-to-be or a mother of a bride, sister of a bride, this is going to be a fun class to kind of get you ready to do some DIY projects for the bride and as the bride. So with today's class, we're going to do a bride proposal box, and I'll be using my Cricut Joy. Now, Cricut Joy is one of our smallest machines, and it is so compact. It fits like right in a cubby hole, so you can tuck it away somewhere and pull it out when you need it. And we have a surprise, so stay tuned for the whole class so you can be part of the surprise. Now, what we're going to do first is make an iron-on cosmetic bag to go into the bridal party proposal box. And as I was working on this class, I was thinking about the prom proposals, and those were not around when I was in high school, but I know probably the brides that are getting married now started the prom proposals, and now they're doing the bride proposal. So I think it's so fun and really a way to involve everybody in the process and just make every moment super special. This class is being recorded, so you can follow along with me if you want in Design Space, or feel free to watch the recording on Michael's YouTube channel, and then you can pause and play as you go along. So the first project, like I mentioned, we are going to work on a cosmetic bag. So Cricut has these fantastic little cosmetic bags, and they come in a package of 3. They're, let's see, 9.5 by 7.5 inches or 9 by 6 inches. So you get 2 of the smaller ones and 1 of the larger ones. So you can decide which design you want to work with. And I've chosen my bride proposal box to be pink and gold is my color theme. So I'll be using some pink and gold material to customize the little cosmetic bag here to go in the bride proposal box. And then I'm using some gold vinyl, and then we'll walk through all those other little fun pieces. But I want to make sure we get our main project created and cut out and assembled for you today. So I'm just going to go ahead and jump right in and share my screen, and we'll start with the cosmetic bag. Now, when you come into Design Space, I always find it fun to look around and see what inspiration is out and what might inspire you. So you could do a quick search on wedding and find some really beautiful images that have to do with weddings or bridesmaids, anything like that. So you've got some really fun images to work with. For our bag, though, I wanted to keep it simple, and I just wanted to put maybe like a heart on it with the person's name. So instead of using something from the wedding collection of an image search, or if I wanted to even be more specific, I may want to find a wedding ring, or let's see if I do, probably just a ring might help me find something. If I wanted to find a little embellishment for my bag, or you could do a little heart embellishment or something like that to go on the bag with your bridesmaids to be with their name. So this has taken just a minute to pull these up. My computer's been slow on me today. So if you wanted to, you could pick one of the rings to put on the bag, or you could just put their name, or you could add like a little heart with it, anything like that. So just look for an image that will go with your name and get some ideas, and then we'll click over here in New Project. So let's go ahead and start a new canvas. And we'll start with a fresh blank canvas. Now, since I know the size of my cosmetic bag that I'm going to be working with, I like to give myself sort of an area to work with that shows me how big my design can be. So the first thing I do is go over to the shapes image and bring a square or rectangle onto my canvas, and then I'll change the size of that to be the size of my cosmetic bag. So using my ruler, my cosmetic bag is, it's 6 by, let's see, the actual size of it is about 6 by 9 or 9. So it's 9 inches wide by 6 inches high. So once I bring that square on, I can go up to my edit bar and click on the unlock icon and change it to 9 inches wide by 6 inches high. And that shows me the size of my cosmetic bag. And it's a white cosmetic bag, so I'll just change that color to white. Now, once I have that on there, I'm going to add my Bridesmaids to Be name, and I'll cut that out of vinyl. So from the insert panel here on the left, I'll click on the text icon, and that brings up my text box. Now I will be cutting this out of iron-on material, so I can just type in my bridesmaid's name that would go on the bag, and then I can choose my font. So this is always where it's fun to kind of choose your design. So we'll just go up to the font edit bar here and select the drop-down menu. And from here, we can filter and look for a decorative font, a cursive font. You can look for all different styles of fonts that you want to work with. And I'm going to slide that over there so I can see when I pick one, it will change the font design on my screen. So let me look for, I don't know if I want contemporary or cursive. We all have our favorite fonts. So let's do a cursive font, like contemporary. So let's find a cursive font that will work for us. And if you have Cricut Access, you have over 700 different fonts to work with. You could always use fonts that are on your system, like that are on. So I'm working on my desktop. If I had a font I like to use that I use in other programs, I would just go to System and change it so that I could pull from my own device fonts. Let's see if I like Alexis, how that one will work. It's a little bit thin for what I want. Let's try another one. Do the analog script. Oh, the Farmhouse Christmas. That's really pretty too. Let me jump on that one. This is always the fun part, trying to decide which font to use. Now, you'll see this little green bar running across the top, and that is changing the font for me in the background. And while that's working, you can go to the images and search for the image that you want to add to your bag. Now, we look for some rings. You could do a silhouette of a bride or groom. You could do a little heart look. Or if you're doing something with a friend and you guys have like a little, maybe you have a little inside joke, or maybe your sorority sisters, you could always add something special onto your bag. But I just need to have, I think I'm just going to look for a fun little double heart, maybe just something simple. You could do a little swirly heart, even a cutout heart would be cute. So many cute options. Why don't we do this swirly heart here? So you can choose your heart. And again, if you have Cricut Access, the image shapes are included in that. If you don't have Cricut Access, each shape would have a fee associated with it. This one would be 99 cents, and you can add that to your canvas. And you can upload your heart shapes too. Ooh, that's big. So we'll just kind of bring that down a bit, so it'll fit on our bag. So I can add the heart on the tote, and then I have the name Virginia. We can right size that so it'll fit on the tote. Now, if I wanted to connect the heart to the name Virginia, I could weld those together so it could all come across as one cut file. But what I'd like to do is actually have them in two different colors. So my heart, I will cut out of a pink iron-on material, and then the Virginia I'll cut out of a gold color. So that's how that's going to look on my cosmetic bag. Now it still hasn't changed the font, so let's see if I just go and do another one. Sometimes it gets caught up a little bit for me. Or did it change the font? Still looking like it's thinking about it. Let's try this one. And then we'll do Virginia. So you can choose your font, change the name, obviously. And then what you'll need to, what I want to point out to everybody, I like that one better. What I want to point out is that each of these letters is an individual layer. So let me zoom it in really big so you can see in between each letter is this little black line. Now, if I send this to my machine as is, it will cut that black line. Those black lines are the cut lines. So I want it to cut as one name, like I wrote it out of cursive. So I need to combine these letters together. On the bottom of your layers panel here is this icon that says combine. And what I want to do is unite these letters together. And what that will do is that removes any of those cut lines that were between the letters. Now, why did I use unite instead of weld? I can come back in here to this name and double click on it. And I believe I can change it if I made a mistake. So let's say I made a mistake, I spelled her name wrong, or I need to do a bag for myself or anything like that. I can go back in under that unite feature and change the name. So as you're working on, if you have multiple bridesmaids that you're working on, you can do each name and replace it. So that makes it super easy to do that. And that's why I would use the unite feature instead of the weld feature. You have that ability to go in and change it. And so now I'm just getting it so it will be sized properly on the cosmetic bag. So I'm going to make my little heart that'll go down in the corner. And then the name Virginia will kind of nestle into that heart, but there'll be two different types of material. Okay, now if anybody has any questions as I'm moving along, please feel free to drop those in the Q&A. I have Anita with me, and she can help answer those questions, or I can answer those questions live. So I know that was a lot of information I threw at you on how to put the name and select an image. Now I'm ready to send it to my Cricut Joy to cut. And I'm using my Cricut Joy again because it's that little, it's the little device, and I can take it with me anywhere I go. But you'll notice in my layers panel here, I have a layer with this red exclamation mark. And then when I click on that, it tells me, whoa, this image is too big to cut with your Cricut Joy. You either need to change the size of the image or go to a different cutter. Since this is my template, I don't need to cut it. I just was using that to get my sizing. So I'm actually going to hide that layer. And so that layer will not show up on my cut layers. So once I've got that all settled, I can go to make it. And this will take me to my prepare screen where I can prepare my cutting mat for the material. Now I'm using, again, the Cricut Joy. So I'm going to be using the Smart Iron-On, which does not require a mat. So I'll be cutting this without a mat on both of these layers. So I'll cut them both without a mat. Now, if you haven't used Iron-On before, I want you to take special notice. When you cut your material, you actually are cutting out of the back side of your material. So you need to flip your image and mirror the image so that you're cutting out the back side, and then we're going to turn it over and press it. So we want to click on that mirror icon and mirror our image. And I'm going to do that for both layers, the heart layer and the name layer. Now, sometimes if you're doing a name, if you're doing a layer that doesn't have text, you may be like, oh, I don't need to flip it. It's a symmetrical design. I always flip my, I always mirror my images, whether they're symmetrical or not, just because it's a good habit to get into when you're working with iron-on material. So once I've mirrored both of those and I'm ready to cut them, I'm just going to go ahead and hit continue. And this will connect to my Cricut Joy through Bluetooth, and then it will tell me it's ready to cut. So once I've got this going, now I'd love to know how many of you all have your Cricut Joys, or are you using a different type of, do you use the Maker or the Explorer, or are you just kind of like, hey, I think I need one of these machines because I'm a bride to be. And so you're looking at getting a machine. Okay, so now I'm ready to send this over to my actual Cricut Joy. I'm going to stop share here, and then I'll switch my camera so you can see. I'll go to my overhead camera. So Juliana has the Maker. That is such a fun machine. I use the Maker as well. And when you're using the Maker, you can use, if you have the Maker 3, you can use the Smart Materials, and then you don't need a mat. Or if you're using, like I found, I did have in the instructions to use the foil. And that's a really beautiful one. And if I were cutting the foil, the heart out of foil, I would put the heart, I would put the foil on the mat with the foil side down, and and it would cut in the back so that when I turned it over and put it on my cosmetic bag, it would be facing right side up. But I thought, so if you're using the Cricut foil material, you still will place that down on your mat. And you can use either the regular iron-on material that is on a roll and with your mat, or you can use Smart Material, either way. So Juliana, you want me to slow down? All right. Are you making with me, Juliana? I'll talk a little bit more about our materials. So we don't, okay, she's making with me. Awesome. How fun. All right. So once you, let me go ahead then. If you're making along with me, I'll show you how, if you're going to use the foil material, and we can always, I can cut another with the foil. So you can see that, because I did say we were going to use the foil. So I just would probably need a little bit of a 4" by 4" piece of my material. So if I'm using the mat, I like to trim my material down so I don't waste it. So I just use my trimmer here, and I'll trim this down to about 4" by 4" and give myself a nice little piece here. You can go as wide as 4.5 inches on your Cricut Joy. And then when you put your material down, anytime you're using iron-on material, you actually want to put the material side down. So you put the shiny side down on your mat like this, and then it will cut that out for you. And I like to use my little brayer here and make sure that is adhered to my mat. It's not going to move around on me and wiggle. So I'm going to set that aside, because now I'm using my iron-on material, and I've got my Smart Material. So again, this is the shiny side here. See how it's shiny? And this is the other side is my matte side. So I'm going to put it into my machine with the shiny side down. So like you can pretend like you have a mat there, but you always want to have the material side facing up. So for this one, the matte side would come up, and there's a, well, I hope I didn't trick it. There's a little sensor in here that as I start to put my material in, or your mat, it will start to roll. Let's see, I think I tricked it there by doing that. Let me get that back. Once it starts to roll, you shouldn't pull your material out, which is what I did. All right, let me just go back. I'm going to say I'm going to cut this again. And I need to just make sure you're mirrored. Sorry about that. I should have tricked my machine. Okay, so I'm going to choose again my Smart Material, Smart Iron-On, and I've got mirror turned on. So that's definitely what you want. And I have my fine point blade in there. So as I put this in, see how it feeds it? Then it loads your material. Once your material is loaded, the difference in your Cricut Joy is you do need to go back to Design Space and click on the Go button, because there's no buttons on the top here like you have, like you have for your other items. I think, Juliana, you're going to be able to catch up because I made a mistake. I'm cutting the name Virginia out of here by accident, but that's okay. We have pink and then the gold heart. I could do either way. I could do my name out of the pink and then my heart out of the gold. I think I'll just recut it so I get the colors. Oh, maybe not. Okay, so once it's cut, then it comes out and you go back into design space and you say to unload the material. So I'm going to unload my material like that. And I may have to do it out of the pink. Let's see. Okay, so let's cut my heart now out of the pink. Okay, so it's loading my material and I'm going to go ahead and hit okay, go. Now, also on your cosmetic bags, if you ever use the Cricut leather, you could make, there's a little tassel image that you can make and we'll do a little rolled tassel design, which is super cute. Okay, so that's my heart. And we'll unload that. Now I need to go back to my name because I cut the name out of the pink. So let me just trim my heart down. There we go. So I've got my heart there. And I'm going to set this aside and I'm going to come back in and do my name again. So again, I put that shiny side down, the matte side up. Let's hope I have enough material there. Okay, and I do. Let's go ahead and say go. So now this will cut out the Virginia there. And then once while that's cutting, I'll go ahead and weed my heart shape here. Now I can feel with my fingers where the cut lines are. And I usually start in the corner with my weeding tool and I just catch it under the corner there. And I begin to remove the material that I don't need on my design. Now you could always trim your material down a little bit more and save this for another project in your bridal proposal box, or add another heart if you wanted to. Okay, so here we go here. So see how easily it weeds? It just comes right off. And the material of this clear plastic piece that's left on there, this is called the carrier sheet. And what that does is the carrier sheet actually holds your design together on the plastic sheet there. It holds that all together. So if you had like a bunch of pieces together, it would keep it all on one page. And now I've got the name here. So I'm going to trim this down and save some of this gold material. And you can see I've always put my extra scraps go back in the box for me so that I have those to use at another time. So I just take my little scraps here and I put them back in the box. That way I know where the gold is, but I should probably label it and say scraps instead. I thought this was a new rule. So now that I've got the name there, I'm just going to go ahead again, take my weeding tool and go in the corner. And then I'll pull this off. Renee, don't worry that you're late. This class is being recorded, so anything you missed at the beginning, we'll go over. The cosmetics bags are from Michaels and Cricut. They're Cricut cosmetics bags. And what is really cool about the cosmetic bags is that you can also use infusible ink on them. So if you didn't want to use iron-on material, you could use infusible ink. And the Cricut bags are in the craft aisle with the at Michael's in the Cricut aisle. They're all craft aisles, right? So they're right there and they come in a pack of 3 and it tells you that they're compatible with infusible ink. And if you haven't used infusible ink yet, it really is fun to use because it goes right into the material. It doesn't sit on top of the material like the iron-on does. It becomes one with the bag. So it's kind of fun. And you can layer infusible ink down and then put iron-on top of it. So if you wanted to do your hearts with infusible ink, you could certainly do that. And then add your hearts, add your name on top of that to get the gold look. All right. So Yes, Trish, I am using it. The Cricut calls their heat vinyl iron-on material. So this is, I'm using Smart Iron-On, and it works just like heat transfer vinyl. It's the same type of material. So yes, that's the same material. Now I'm going to set my little Cricut aside. See how little that thing is? It's so cute. And I have, now let me pull up my, I'm using the 9x9 EasyPress 3. And if I wanted to, if you had like the mini EasyPress, you could use that too for this. I'm just going to use this, this one because it's bigger. And it's a little easier for me in my workspace to use this one. The other great thing about this is that it is Bluetooth compatible. I'll get my face on there. So the EasyPress 3s are Bluetooth compatible. And what that means is you can use the Cricut Heat Guide in the app. So along with your Cricut Design Space, there's the Cricut Heat app and the Cricut Joy app. When you click on the Cricut Heat app, it connects with your EasyPress through Bluetooth. So all I have to do is select which EasyPress I'm using, and I can send the settings, the heat settings, right there to my EasyPress 3. If you are on an older version of like an EasyPress 2 or the new, the original models, you can still go to the heat guide from the app. It just says Open Heat Guide right there, and you click on that and you can get your heat settings right in the app. So I'm going to go ahead and start a new project. And my material is going to be Smart Iron-On. So I just go to the Smart Materials and I choose Smart Iron-On. And then I'm ironing it on to Cricut's blank cosmetic bag. So I select that as my blank. And my work surface will be the Cricut pressing mat. Now, if you don't have a pressing mat, that's okay. You can use a paper, like not paper towel, your beach towel, like a terry cloth towel folded over to press on that. So if you didn't have the heat press, you could use just some folded towels. And I do recommend, if you're doing something like that, not like if you're using your home iron, not to use and so Juliana says, I don't have an iron thing, the EasyPress. You can use your home iron with your iron-on material. What I would recommend, if that's what you're doing, use your terry cloth towels on your work surface. And I kind of recommend not doing it on an ironing board, because your ironing board has holes in it. So the heat will penetrate through those holes and go into your, it just doesn't hold the heat like a towel or something like that. Also, my ironing board is kind of wonky, so I don't like to use my ironing board to work on. Now, if I were using an everyday iron, I would probably put a piece of parchment paper or an ironing cloth between your iron and your material. Just to be on the safe side. So I'm going to go ahead and trim down on my heart here, trim that right down close to the edge. And I don't know if you guys heard my beep that told me my EasyPress was all ready to go. We're just going to trim this down. Okay, so this I'm going to put in the corner here, and I'm kind of being aware there's like a little seam here. So I don't want my heart to go onto the seam. I want it to be on this flat part of the surface here. It could go on the seam and it would not be a problem. And then I want my name to go on top of it, like fit in that little nook there. That's why I trim down around my heart so that I can just put these both down at the same time. Now, if I were using two different materials, like if I were using a foil and an iron-on, I would do the foil first because, the iron-on first because it's at a higher temperature. So I just did my preheat, and what the preheat does is it helps take out any moisture in your garment. So even if you're using a home iron, you want to use that preheated setting. And then I'm going to take my name and put it on here. And again, I want to make sure that my name is not going to be overlapping the carrier sheet on my heart here. So I want that to be, you know, pressed to the side. That's why I cut real close to that heart. Now I can just put this on there, and it says deheat for 30 seconds and apply light pressure. So I can just put my hands here and I'm applying that light pressure, and it takes 30 seconds to press it. And I usually, if you're using your home iron and you need your heat settings, I just would say you're using the red EasyPress to get your heat settings. The one when you need to go to an EasyPress is if you were using the infusible ink, because that is needs a hotter temperature to infuse. So you would just do that. And then I'm just going to do a little 10-second press on the back. It doesn't tell me to, but I'm doing that. The other thing, when you're using a home iron or an EasyPress, you just want to go ahead and put it on there and let it and leave it there. Like, you don't want to slide it around. You want to press it down, pick it up, press it down, pick it up. So if I were using my EasyPress Mini, I would do the same thing. I would press it down and pick it up as I was going. Now you want to peel when cool. My directions here tell me to peel when cool. So I use whatever I have close by, like this glass always helps kind of cool things down. A glass, I usually have a glass by my around my table, so I can use that. You can just wave it around like this, and then you're going to peel it when it's cool. So we're just going to let this cool a little bit, and then we can start to peel. Now, if for some reason, as I'm peeling back my vinyl, I'm going to let it cool. I always get too anxious. If for some reason, as I let my when I remove the carrier sheet off of the bag, anything isn't adhered down, I can go back and hit that little corner again and then press that down again and let it cool, because you really want to make sure everything's pressed down the first time. Now, I did say we have a surprise in this class. We are going to be giving a Cricut Joy away to one lucky winner in the class. It will be mailed. This is a Cricut giveaway, so it's coming from Cricut, and we are going to send that to you. If you, at the end of the class, I'll tell you how you can win the Cricut Joy. Okay, so this is cooling off. This is cooling off very nicely. I just used a little glass tray I have here. Put that on, and I'll set that aside. Now I'm going to very gently begin to peel back my carrier sheet. And as I do so, I want to make sure that my vinyl is staying down. My iron-on material is staying down, and it is. And then I just move my hand along and remove that as I go. Look at how pretty. I love it. So now when I get to that pink heart, I can just pick up that carrier sheet and remove that at the same time. So now this is ready to go in my bridal box. So let's pull up the bridal box and talk about that. What I decided to use for my bridal box was this memory box from Michaels. Let me come over to my front camera so I can show you all what this looks like. This is just, and I really loved the memory box part of it. Like, this is one of the photo boxes you can find at Michaels. It's pink, and then it had the gold ribbon right on it. And they have these in all different colors. So whatever your wedding color scheme is, you could use this box. And then afterwards, your bridesmaid has a nice box to use for all the memorabilia from your wedding. But let's go, I'm going to go back now to my overhead camera, and we'll start to kind of load this up with some goodies. I want to be mindful of our time. Okay, we're doing good. I have some other things I've already prepared to show you guys. So we're going to add a little bit more to the box. So I have some shredded paper here. This is really loud. Sorry about that. And we're just going to kind of mix in some of the pink with the white. So I'll put a little pink in and then a little white end. And this way, now you should know who you're inviting to be your bridesmaids and kind of know what they like. So maybe they're new moms and they're not getting enough sleep. So you might want to put a little sleep something in there for them, like an iPad or something like that. Or maybe they're single and they're going out to the bars. So, you know, you might want to put a little koozie in there, or they love the beach. They've got a trip planned. You can do all kinds of different packages. Like there was, Michael's has these really cute jelly bags. I thought those would be really fun if you were doing a destination wedding or something like that. You could put some flip-flops and put a monogram on the flip-flops if you wanted to. Now, if this box is a little bit deeper than you need, you can always raise it up with a little piece of cardboard inside. Okay, now I've got my little shreds all over. Okay, so one of the things I wanted to put in my box was a cute little champagne flute that I got at Michael's. But of course, I can't just put that in plain, can I? No, I have to do something fun. So again, for my bridesmaid, I'm just going to take some glass cleaner here. I'm going to clean off the glass. Now I've gone ahead the same way I cut the name out for the iron-on. I used, instead of iron-on material for glass, you would use vinyl. So I used Cricut's Everyday Smart Vinyl. And I cut out, using the matte gold, I cut out my bridesmaid's name. So I'm just going to take my glass, and I like to, you can use your cutting board, that little groove in there, or if you want to, you can use a little face cloth to get your groove going. So we can just go like this and put that in there, and that way it won't roll around. Now I've cut this out already out of my iron-on material, out of my everyday vinyl, and I've gone ahead and done the weeding and added the transfer sheet to the top of it. So now what I need to do is remove the backing here. Alma, I'm trying to read your question. I do not have the Cricut iron-on. Am I able to use a regular iron? If so, what would the setting be? Yes, you are able to use a regular iron with Cricut's iron-on material. And your setting, you want to have your iron set on the highest heat. So like the cotton or linen setting, you want to have it on that highest heat setting with no steam. So just a dry iron on there. Okay, so I'm going to flip this way. And now I've got my little cup here. So I'm going to take her name and put that on the cup. Now I'm going to put the start of the name at the bottom so that when you're drinking from it, you can read it going up that way, but you can really do it any way you want. Cricut's transfer paper has a grid on it. So I'm going to use that grid line to line that up with the top of the glass and make sure that I am lining it up evenly. Now I do have a very large piece of transfer tape here. So I would normally cut into it so that I don't get any bubbles as I'm going down, but I think I'll be okay. I'm going to hold up on that V, and then I'll start removing from this side here. So it's always kind of a balancing act to get on a glass that's a little bit of a different shape. So this little champagne flute is wider at the bottom. So I'm just holding up that V until I have a little bit less material to work with down at the end there. And I don't want to get any holes on it. So I'm going to kind of let it work some magic here. So I'll just put that little bottom of the V down, and I can feel that that's down. And then as I lift up here on this part, I'll continue to push the top of the V down there so that I don't have any bubbles in the name. Okay, so there's the Virginia. And now you can save your transfer sheet and use that as for another project. So I'm going to set that aside. Now there's the Virginia that would go in the little box. So I have her name and I have a little cosmetic bag for her in there. And so if you have some other goodies like a candle, like I mentioned, and stuff like that. But then how do you ask her to actually be in the wedding? I'm going to set this aside. What kind of transfer paper are you using? Wendy, I'm using Cricut's transfer light grip paper. If I were using glitter vinyl, I would use the strong grip. But since this is just the everyday vinyl, I used the standard grip. So it doesn't hold on super tight, but it holds it nicely. Now, for the actual proposal part of it, I cut a piece of, it's hard to see, but you'll see when I explain this. I used Cricut's acetate paper, which I love this stuff. It's clear acetate sheets. And if you can't find this, Michael's does have the clear acetate sheets. I just saw it at my Michael's this weekend. You can use any type of acetate sheet. So what I did was I drew a heart on this scrap piece of paper, and I used my paintbrush and this acrylic paint to paint the heart on the back side. So when I take it off, you'll see that I have my little heart shape is on this paper. So I just put it down, and I did 2 colors of the acrylic paint. You may need 3, but I just did 2. So that's how it comes out. I have a nice little shape behind it, and you can see my heart design there. So if you used, your heart, like this heart, and drew it out on a piece of paper, then you could draw that heart onto your acrylic if you wanted to. So once I have that done, and I did 2 coats and let it dry. So sorry, I'm not going to paint it for you guys. Let's see, I need one more piece of transfer paper, but before so I'm going to do the top of my box, and then I'll use that little piece of transfer paper on this. So so you can see how you can use your transfer tape multiple times. So along when I cut the name for the glass, I cut a bigger name to go on the box. So I want to put her name on the box, on the front of the box. So I've done that out of, I did this also out of everyday vinyl, and I'm using just the standard grip transfer tape. I've already done the weeding, obviously, and I'm going to put this on there. So I'm just peeling off the carrier sheet on the back of it. I'm careful. You want to do it carefully, especially my letters are very thin. So I am kind of going a little bit thin here. So we're just going to slide that right off. How pretty is that? Okay. And again, I have these grid lines, so I can use the grids on my transfer tape to make sure her name goes down right. So I'm going to line up a line right here on the side with the edge of the box. And then I'll do the bottom of the box too. You may want to have somebody with an extra pair of hands to help you out, so you can kind of hold it up. But once that's on there, now I'm not going to burnish it too much, because I don't want to peel off the pink card. I don't want to peel off the pink on the box. If you were worried about that, you could always do iron on and just do a lower temperature and iron on the name onto the box. Wouldn't that be fun? And that would give you a little texture and stuff like that. So we're just going to take this right off. So now if you do your bride proposal lunch or something like that, you'll have this adorable box with her name on it at the table. And then let me show you, we've got our heart here. And then the actual ask is, will you be my bridesmaid? So I'm going to take this, and line it up on my transfer sheet here. Now this one is not, obviously it's not transferred. So I'm going to show you when you're working with smart vinyl, it can be a little tricky as you're starting. So if you're a beginner, it can be a little tricky as you're getting started. So Galaxy's asking, do I need to press the name on the glass? Yes, you go back through and you press the name on the glass, and then you want to wait 24 hours before using the glass or, washing it or anything like that. But with Cricut's permanent vinyl, you can put that vinyl right through. If your glass is dishwasher safe, you can put this right in the dishwasher with this vinyl on there and it won't come off. So it is a permanent vinyl. It's the same vinyl I used on the box here. And obviously you're not going to wash your box, but years later, that name will still be on the box. So now I'm using my, my little wedge here just to push down on the back. And the Smart material comes on a thicker carrier sheet than our other vinyls, our everyday vinyls. So what I'm doing is I'm folding where it's starting to, the name is showing for me. I'm going to fold it back and peel back a little bit. And I just kind of go back and forth at an angle, usually at like a 45-degree angle. And I want to make sure that I get every little piece adhered to my transfer tape. So I'm just going to kind of push it back. If something's not coming off, just crease it there with a fold, and that makes all the world of difference. Now, I will tell you, it takes a little bit of practice to get good with the vinyl coming off your carrier sheet, and you just have to be patient with it. So be patient, fold your carrier sheet, this white sheet, the vinyl on, just fold that back, give it a good crease, and just walk your transfer onto the carrier sheet like I'm doing here. I'm just going to fold it and keep coming back. And if you get stuck at one point, like if you get to one point and you're like, oh, this just is not coming off the way I want it to, you can just stop like that and come at it from another angle. So you can just come at it from this angle and work at it from this way. So if you get stuck, just pause, come from a different angle, go slide it back and forth at that 45-degree angle, and then push it down as you go. So I'm just rolling my paper and pushing down as I go.
Kesley?
Yes.
What is your Facebook name? Is it Kesley 365?
It is. It's Kesley 365. Yep. And on Cricut Design Space, you can find me under Kesley Anderson, and I've saved all these projects for you guys. Now this is so now I've got my heart the painted heart is on this side, and I'm flipping my acetate sheet over so that I can put my Will You Be My Bridesmaid right onto my heart here. Now you want to make sure you've got know where your center is. So I've got my center here, and then I'm just going to put this down. I do like a little taco fold where I hold the sides up like this, and I'm just going to put it down and use the grid lines on my mat to line up with the grid lines on my transfer tape. How cool is that? So now you just give it a good press down, and then we're just going to walk it off. So this is the second time using this transfer tape. So you can really use your transfer tape. Don't feel like, oh, I've used it, now I need to throw it away. Just save your backing piece, and we'll just put that right back on there. Not the backing piece that your vinyl is on, but your transfer tape backing piece. See how easily this is coming off? You just work it right off. Okay, so love that. And then I'm just going to take my sheet. This is my sheet. That's what I want. So I'm just going to put that right back on there. Doesn't have to be perfect. I can set that aside and I can use that for another time. But now back to my box. So I've got my friends are sitting down at their table. When they open up their little packages, they will see all their goodies. And then you can put this right on top. I'm going to kind of nestle this in a little bit more. Put some fun stuff in there. And if you wanted to, you could even put little things inside the bag. Let's get that nestled in there. Okay, so now I put "Will you be my bridesmaid" right on top. So that's the first thing they see when they open the box. Some people will put the message on the inside of the box here. But I really wanted, I thought it would be nice.
I don't know that one.
I thought it would be nice to have the box and use it for years to come. Now, then you take your gold ribbon. So this is just a little 3/4 inch ribbon from Michaels. And if you really want it to be extra, you could take your iron-on and put the date of your wedding on here. And then when you wrap it up, you'd have the date of your wedding on here. Now, another project I wanted to show you guys, which I don't think we have time for, is to make a sash for your bridesmaids and your maid of honor. Just a little sash that would go in the packaging. Let's see. So when you tie up your bow, go.
Kesley, you're more than welcome to go over if you need to.
Oh, am I on? Oh, okay. I may be. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. To do the ribbon.
The next project.
Okay. Let's just get this. All right. So I've got our little ribbon here. I'm going to tie this on up. Now, sometimes if I'm struggling to get a good ribbon, I might just do this and then tuck it underneath the sides. But we should be able to get a pretty ribbon with this ribbon. It's so nice and easy to work with. It's got a good flex to it. I'll tell you which ribbon this is because it really is so nice. There we go. Here we are, beautiful ribbon. Isn't that pretty? And what I really liked about this ribbon, one of the reasons I picked it was either way, you have like a really nice look to it. You didn't have like a one side that didn't look as good as the other side. And then I want to find my good scissors, my fabric scissors, and just trim this down for you. So I would just trim this down a bit. I'll try these scissors. So what I like to do is fold the ribbon in half, and then you cut down like this. And this will give you a nice little finished tail there. But do use your good scissors. The ones you tell your family, don't take my good scissors. You want to use those scissors, which I don't really see mine. They're not handy. So, okay, so we'll just go like this, and then I'll cut this in half again, fold it in half, and then cut it to get that V shape. Like that. So you have a nice little V shape there on both sides. And then if you really want to be extra, I made a little note. I can't say I do without you. And I used the foil tip to make this. And I would tuck that right in and handwrite a note inside my box, inside my message there. And that would be at my guests' table when they came in to sit, and any other little goodies that I wanted to put in there. So this is the material to make your sash, would be that. And then that would go inside the box as well. And I do have that project in Design Space. So let me show you all. And while I'm just showing you the last little bit here, we're ready to ask everybody if you're ready to win a Cricut Joy. So get your fingers ready, open up in Zoom the Q&A section at the bottom. You'll see the little Q&A section there. Open that up and tell us when your wedding will be. And we have a date already pre-selected. All three of us, Anita, Felicia, and I know the date. We're going to be looking in the Q&A, and whoever is closest to the date we've selected will be our winner. So now if you're like, oh, I just came to watch this, how to make a cute box, you can still enter. Just if you're married, give us your wedding date, your anniversary date. If you're not married or don't plan to be married, you just pick out your favorite date. Maybe it's your birthday or something like that. So we'll see who gets the closest to the date, and we'll go from there. Now, while you're doing that, and Felicia and Anita are looking at the dates, and I want to show you one last thing. Somebody asked how to find me. In Design Space, when you finish a project, I always like to save my project. So I'll go ahead and save this project as cosmetic bag, Bridesmaid cosmetic bag, and then I share it out. So once I've saved that project, I'll take a picture of it and update the project itself. And then I just go to my stuff. And so that project, I can just click on the arrow and say, make public in Design Space, and I share that out. So if you want to find the projects that we've made today, the will you be my bridesmaid, or the card, here's the little card here. All you have to do is go to the home and type in Kesley Anderson. That's me. Do we have a winner yet?
So as I'm going through, I am still looking at all the dates, but at this very moment, it appears to be Brenda. And her anniversary or wedding date is August the 7th.
Congratulations. All right. So Brenda, you are our winner. If you could please instant message Anita, or direct message Anita or Felicia with your information. And once they've got that, they'll let me know. And then we will get that sent out to you from Cricut. So welcome and congratulations. So this is where I have all these little, all my projects. So this last one I showed you, the card, I'm just going to show you how to make it. Thank you, Felicia, for giving me the extra time to do this. So I've made the card. It's a 4.5 by 5-inch card, and it's going to pull it up. I'm going to set my box aside here and my heat press. So there's my card, and it says, I can't say I do without you. Super cute. And let me pull this over. So what I'm going to do is, I don't need to have the square. I'm going to put it on a card that I've pre-cut. So I don't need to have that square there. And let's see, why is this giving me, oops. Oh, okay. So Cricut Joy, I can't do a bold foil. So let me resize my foil down to a smaller size here. Here you go, foil. And I can't say I do. It'd just be the foil tip. And then the hearts also, I want to make that the foil tip. So you can change the saying here if you wanted to, or anything like that. But what I want to show you is how easy it is to use the card mat with the foil tip. So I'm going to use the card mat for this, and you can see it shrunk the size of my mat down, and it centered my message on the card. So when I hit continue, it will ask me to select which Cricut Joy I'm using. Let's get that one queued up there. And then I'll need to make sure I put my tip in, my the foil tip in my Cricut Joy, and I'll show you how to do that. So I don't have to do any cutting. I'm going to put the foil on the card before putting it through. So let me go ahead and stop sharing here, and then I'll go to my overhead. So you can see, oops, didn't mean to turn that off. Okay, so we'll go to the overhead here. Now, this is great for brides. So your foil tip comes, this is my foil tip for my Explore or Maker. And then there's the foil tip for the Cricut Joy. And you have different types of foil. Now I have my card and a foil kit already opened. So, and I'm going to use the Cricut Joy card mat. So it comes in a package like this, and it's small. Now you also have the card mat for your Explore or your Maker. And that comes, you can do 4 by 4. So you can actually do 4 cards at one time. So you need to remove the clear plastic sleeve there. We're going to slide our card into the holder, go underneath that little plastic piece, and then I'm just going to push it down. So that will adhere down like this. And then this is the not tricky part, but the fun part. You're going to take a piece of the gold foil here. Now, in the other instance, when we're using the iron-on material, we put the foil side down, and it makes sense in my mind to put the foil side down because you want the foil to show. But that's not how you do it. You want to actually put the foil side up, and you do that because you want when your Cricut Joy blade goes over that foil, it presses on the foil and presses it down onto the paper. So you just get your little blade here. I keep mine in its box so I don't lose it. And we're just going to put the tip right in there. It's like magnetized, so it goes right in there. And then in your Cricut Joy, which we have a new Cricut Joy user in the family, we're just going to open that up and remove our fine point blade and put that in. Now it has like a kind of a ball point on it. And then as that goes over, it presses into the foil and it pushes the foil into the paper. So once you have your foil on your mat, and you don't want to put your foil on the sticky part here, I've made that mistake so many times, it'll stick to the mat, to the adhesive part of the mat. So what I like to do is I'll take my first piece of tape and I tape it to the top. Now, my trick is, because you really want your foil to lay as flat and smooth as possible. And there's a bit of static on the foil itself, so it kind of wants to come up. So what I do is I grab the foil with the bottom half of the tape. I'll put my fingers down. I'll grab the foil, it comes up, and I push it down onto the mat there. So it goes right there. And you can see how like it kind of has a little bit of a buckle there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back now that that's flat and it's got a little piece. So I'm just going to come back and we're going to grab this. And we're going to make sure that this is as tight as it can be, because you really want to make sure it's tight and smooth. So that's nice and smooth there. And then I'm going to grab another piece of the tape, and these little plastic tape pieces come in the packaging with your foil. So I'm going to grab that bottom piece and pull it down so it's nice and tight. So it's very tight on my card. And the tape will not hurt your card or hurt the foil or anything like that. So you just want to let it grab it and go tight. We'll do this one here too. So you do all four sides and you just go really tight with it. And if you really want to be, make sure it's really down and it's not coming up on you anywhere, you can take a little piece of it and grasp it and push it down in any little spots you feel like, oh, I don't think that's tight enough. I really want to make sure that doesn't come up. So I can just push that down like that. And now it's all covered and it's going nowhere. Then so my machine is ready. I just take my card and I put it in. And it feeds it in. Okay, and then I'm going to do, in Design Space, I just have to hit the go button again for my Joy, and it's going to do the foil. It'll trace those lines for me. So this is the, yes, Trish, the foil blade is a different blade, and it's different for Cricut Joy than it is for your Maker or your Explorer. Your Maker, the same blade goes in your Maker or Explorer. It's just a longer blade because the carriage part of it is different. So you do need a different blade for that. So you have your Cricut Joy blade and the Cricut foil. Now you can use the Cricut Joy size foil on your Cricut Joy machine or on your Maker machine or anything like that. They do have 12 by 12 sheets. So you can use that on your 12 by 12 sheet and cut it down for your Cricut Joy size, whichever works for you. Now, Norma is asking, how much is the Cricut Joy? Norma, I'm not sure the retail price. I would look on the Michael's website and see how much they are there. I don't know off the top of my head what the price of it is. Anita, do you know the MSRP on the Cricut Joy?
I can find that real quick.
Okay, perfect. So it is cruising right along for me. And I wanted to try to do the foil on ribbon. I thought that would be really pretty as well. Like you can do the iron-on the ribbon. But I was wondering if you could do the foil on the ribbon, if that would work or not. But you can do it on a napkin or anything like that. Okay, so you can see where those lines have marked in. And then I just have to hit the unload on here. So you just hit unload in Design Space and it unloads it. And then let's take a look at how amazing it looks. So again, I just am going to remove my tape with the foil.
Michael's has the Joy at 169
Okay,
on the
perfect.
website.
Thank you. And can you guys see how that reflects? I don't know if you can see it as much on my lighting. And then when you remove your card, I always turn my mat over when I'm working with cardstock, and I remove my mat from my card so it doesn't curl on me. But there's our message. Can you guys see that? I think I have to get it. I have too much light on there. But this one, the thicker, I think came out a little bit darker, so maybe that one is easier to see. There we go.
Hey, Kesley, can you raise it up a little bit and then they can see it a little bit better?
I think the lighting. Let's see. Don't want to make anybody sick by zooming in and out too much there. Oops, almost had it. There we go. You can't say I do without you. And then you could handwrite your note on the inside of your card. All right, well, guys, that is our class. Oh, let me get my camera back up. That is our class. And did we get our winners' information?
Yes, we did.
Yay, congratulations. Who was it again?
Brenda.
Brenda. Congratulations, Brenda. I hope we see you again in classes. Guys, keep coming, keep learning how to use your Cricut. Tag me in your social media, Kesley.365, and make sure you tag Michael's and Cricut with Michael's as well. So all three, when you make something with your Cricut machine and with Michael's. Thank you so much for spending time with us today. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks a bunch.